Alright, let's go a little further in this video of some anonymous person calling me, they call it Heretics Exposed, even though I don't know what's being exposed here. This is all public videos, so nothing was exposed. Excuse me.
That he was a very fine person, Matthew Kelly.
Alright, so again, I stand by apologizing to Matthew Kelly. It was absolutely disgusting and sinful for people to call him. You're upset at Rabbi Goldberg. You go to a different shul. You don't go and be disrespectful.
A whole horrible, Halal Hashem, disgusting, bigoted, hateful campaign against this event. And in the end, Mr. Kelly canceled the event because of the pressure from these bigots. And even though I had nothing to do with it, even from the beginning, as soon as I heard about this, I fought against this campaign against Mr. Kelly. I still feel an achrayus, I feel a responsibility to apologize as a member of the Jewish community. To apologize for this.
I stand by that. It is absolutely disgusting. Oh, was it a shame? How do I go back to where we were? Okay.
This insult that how people they could go and
they called him a monkey. They threatened violence against him. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. There's no excuse for that type of behavior. It's the Halal Hashem. And again, this guy started the video saying that we're guests in Golus. If we're guests in Golus, we have to treat our hosts with respect. You don't want to inspire pogroms. This type of Zionist attitude of insulting the nations where we are under their wings it's unconscionable, and it causes anti-Semitism. So absolutely we have to apologize for that. And they're the heretics.
Harass a nice person who's trying to share wisdom with our community, and harassing him, it's bigotry, it's hatred, and it's not Judaism. And I'm very upset to hear this. It's very heartbreaking.
Jesus.
So what is this? Do you realize how disgusting it is to go and take a popular Catholic speaker who's very well respected in the Catholic world at large and put devil horns on him because he believes in a different religion than we believe in? Like, how would you feel if they did that to us? You would go and scream anti-Semitism, and then you're doing the same thing. Like, that's just immature and insulting and dangerous. I mean, if there's anti-Semitism, it's you people who do this garbage that cause it. Even though I reject the concept of anti-Semitism and prefer to use the term of Judeophobia or Toraphobia, because I don't like to racialize the Jewish identity, but that's another thing for another time.
Jesus is the healer of my soul.
My feeling is like Dr. Brown. He's a really great Christian, but he's just a lousy Jew. He should just drop the whole Jewish nonsense and then just be a good Christian. Keeps halacha, and they just happen to believe Jesus is the Messiah. They're still a kosher Jew. They might be wrong, but they're still a kosher Jew. But meaning
now this is a halachic statement that I'm making here. So the first thing is that the point that I'm making is that somebody like Michael Brown is not a kosher Jew. He's a Christian. His ideology is pure Christianity, and he waves around this Jewish identity to his discredit. On the other hand, you do have groups that would be called more or less like Orthodox or Rabbinical Messianic, which is an oxymoron and stupidity. But not everything that is stupid, and not everything that's oxymoronic is heretical. And we had the issue in our community, and it was a machlokes between the different rabbanim. but basically, so there was a bocher in the community who Sharmater mitzvahs, a Jewish boy, Sharmater mitzvahs, and he expressed some, in a Tamimistic way, some respect for Oisa Ish and some suffix about his status, but he said he does not pray to him. He doesn't recognize him as a Avodah Zarah, but maybe as Gevein a Tana, maybe as Gevein a Navi, maybe as Gevein a Ichveiz a Philip Mashiach, which is stupid and wrong. Jesus was not a Tana, he was not a Navi, he certainly was not Mashiach, certainly was not God. When I think, in my opinion, when you cross the line of saying he's God, that's already heretical and idolatrous. When somebody says that he's Mashiach, it's just stupid. But if someone otherwise keeps Shabbos, keeps kosher, follows the halacha, but they also believe that Oisa Ish is a Mashiach, or is a Tana, or is a Navi, it's a stupid thing to believe, but not everything that's stupid is heresy. And that's the point that I was making there. And so we had the Shaila in the community. There was one bacher, it was like, and the same thing is with Lubavitcher Rebbe. It's absolutely stupid to believe Lubavitcher Rebbe is Mashiach. But you want to. But believing that doesn't make you an apikoros. It just makes you an idiot. And the same thing with these, with whether they're Mashiachists for Yashka or Mashiachists for Lubavitcher Rebbe. It's a stupid idea, but it's not kfira. It's not epikorsis. And that was the psak that the Rosh Hashiva from Ner Yisrael in Baltimore. Visa Heist there. I used to go to his shir almost every Motzei Shabbos before he went to Baltimore. Rav Aaron Feldman, big Rosh Hashiva, and one of the Gedolei Hador. And he has a very famous tshuva about the Lubavitchers, and he does not extrapolate it to Yashka. The Lubavitchers will say the nafkamina is that Lubavitcher Rebbe Gevein is Zayagreis Tzadik, and Oisa Ish Gevein Rosh Marusha, and that's the nafkamina. That's the Lubavitchers say. But al pi halacha, it's not really a nafkamina. And if you and whatever you're saying, so Rabbi Nasha Klein, Zechus Yigalenu, who I went to once or twice, and I've seen him. His opinion was that the Meshachis Lubavitch is Mamash Avodah Zarah, and I think the Chavetz Chaim Rosh Hashiva Reb Henach Zechron Levracha had ook gehalten in Zoy, and that was Reb Henach Lebevich. He held Zeichet Tzarech Levracha, also held like that Lubavitch, Meshachis Lubavitch is Avodah Zarah. And then others, Rav Aaron Salvachik Zechron Levracha, was moida that he believed the Lubavitch Rebbe was Mashiach when he was alive, and only now that he's dead, he said that it's not kfira to believe such a thing, and we should look at the Lubavitchers as fine Borlei El Chiyidin, and and then we have Rav Aaron Feldman Shlita, who said that it's stupid, and no one who believes such a thing should be considered Mar Hara. However, it's not kfira, so they still are mitzaref to minyan, and their shechita is still kosher. So the thing is, if we're going to be intellectually honest, as ridiculous and even in a just gefil, it's much worse to say this about Oisei Ish, Yimach Shemai V'Zichrei. It's not. If that is the psak, if Rav Aaron Feldman's psak is Azoy of Lubavitcher Rebbe, so Zovazach of Oisei Ish Yimach Shemai. It's the same thing. That's the answer that they have to give, and that's what we're talking about. So we had the question, and this bocher he was working in a restaurant. And the restaurant said they need someone who's a Shomer Shabbos to be shtickle mashgiach. He's the cashier and everything, but so we don't have to have a mashgiach to meet. He is essentially a mashgiach. That's what the Rav Machshir wanted. So then Rav Machshir was talking to him, and he found this out, and Rav Machshir said, you can't be mashgiach here anymore. You can't work here anymore. So then we talked to the one who actually was the Rav Machshir before, who was a little bit frummer than the first one, right? The first one was from Breuer's, but he was a Chassidish, maybe a Vishnitzer, I don't know. And then the second one, he was a Frumta Satmar and a big Talmid Chacham, someone who learns all day. And that's why he stopped getting the Hechsher, because he didn't have time. He wanted to learn all day. And he said no. He said not everything that is stupid and wrong, maybe even to say stupid, but not everything that's wrong is a Avodah Zarah or a Kfira. There's a very Frumah Satmar Rav, and he said such a person who otherwise Shemer Mitzvahs, Shemer Shabbos, Kashrus, everything like that, and he believes in Yud Gimel Ekrim, but he believes that on some darga, or is mesupik on some darga, oisa ish to be Mashiach, he's kosher to be a mashgiach in a restaurant, he counts for a minyan, etc., etc. And so there were two different approaches to this. It's machlokes. In our shul, I spoke to our Rav, and he said he respects this Satmarer Dayan, this Pesach. We accept this guy in our minyan. And the guy, I don't even think actually believes in Yashka, to be honest. It's just that he finds inspiration, whatever it is. It doesn't actually believe him to be Mashiach. Just I think maybe a halter for a Tana, something like that, maybe like that. Which again, it's stupid, but it's not kfira, and that's what I'm saying. And so that's Rav Asher's view as well. Again, not that neither he or I are a mandamar. I'm just saying that this is a normative halachic stance that I got from an actual Pesach. I'm not going to mention who this Satmar rabbi is. He won't call himself a Satmar, and the Satmar Oilam know who I'm talking about, because when I'm saying he won't. But he's a Talmud of Satmar Rav, and a very frummer Rav, and people know which county I live in. Someone else who lives full time in our county, people know who I'm talking about. But that was his psak. It was that not everything that's stupid or wrong is kfira. And so if someone is otherwise Shemer Mitzvahs, and they believe something stupid like that, and they don't make it for Avodah Zarah, meaning they don't daven to Yashka. Meaning, what is Avodah Zarah? Avodah Zarah means a foreign form of worship, or worshiping something other than a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So if someone doesn't worship Oise Ish, he's not Oivid Oise Ish, just he halted for Mashiach, or for a Navi, or for a Tana, it's stupid. And Oise Ish was Taka Rasha. But, Sof Kol Sof, it's not kfira, and it's not a Avodah Zarah. And that's my point. And like Rav Asher says, when you have these congregations, and they see what Oise Ish was quoted as saying to heed the scribes and Pharisees, for they sit in the seat of Moses, and they want to follow Al Pi Chazal, and they believe Oise Ish to be Mashiach, but they don't daven to him, right? Although Rav Asher has also the whole question of Atzmus Beguf and how the Lubavitcher, whatever we apply to the Lubavitchers is what we should apply to, not the Christians. They're not Christians. We're talking about people who follow Judaism, and they they hold something about Oise Ish that's not true. And if they do it in a way that's not Avodah Zarah, Shalom Al Yisrael. We should be makar of them, and if they're halachically Jewish, or even if they're ger, whatever. And the whole question, I remember there was a question about a ger tzedek who believes that Lubavitch Rebbe is Mashiach, and should we mekabel a ger who believes Lubavitch Rebbe is Mashiach?
There's a speed trap ahead.
This type of question. And again, so there are just going to be different opinions on this matter. and really each Bezdin has the right to say, I'm not going to be makabel such a ger. But if you have someone already is Jewish, whether born Jewish or converted, and once they're already makabel, whatever it is, it's a halachic question. But and you have to halachically know what point does one cross the line of kfira, of avodah zarah, of apikorsis, and what point is one in error without being heretical. All right, let's go weiter. But that was
you
my
would make
point.
it seem like that they're just wrong, but it's not like heretic. The heresy that he has is not that he accepted Jesus, but that he abandoned Judaism. That's what I would argue.
And that
would
what
probably blow him out of the
with a Muslim apologist.
So they were not as ethical. If you're making the same argument about the Noahide laws, the Noahide laws are ethical, but Islam and Christianity are more ethical.
And again,
I would even
that argument. I discussed this before in the previous video. You're going to tell somebody that for their whole life honored their mother and father. Now you're not mechuyev to honor your mother, your father. You tell someone their whole life they were monogamous, and now you don't have to be monogamous. Which one is more ethical? Which one is meaning? Not that the Sheva, under the rubric of Sheva mitzvahs, that one is not allowed to honor their parents, or one is not allowed to be monogamous. But what I'm saying is which is more ethical, and that again. So Christianity is wrong theologically, and Islam is wrong ideologically, and other things, and ceremonially and so forth. But as far as how a person lives under a rubric of Christianity, or under a rubric of Islam, or under Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, or under Judaism, the top would be Judaism. To live kehalacha, to live under the 613 mitzvos, that is the most ethical, highest standard of life that any human being can aspire to. And the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach are a minimum, and so therefore they are specifically under the ethics and morals of Christianity and Islam, which grew out of a Jewish ideology. And that's what I'm saying. Let's stop here, and we'll make another video separately. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, because the next thing is probably my most controversial thing.